What was the first step from there on? Because you've got this monumental task in front of you. Okay, starting a parish and you have nothing.
Yeah.
What are your first steps? What do you do?
So what helps were in the archdiocese, a few years before that. There was one of the blessings in our archdiocese is while many other places they're closing down, we are adding parishes. So I was told that Saint Edestein started out just like us from scratch. That was maybe in the 90s, in the late 80s, in the 90s, they were doing that. And then Saint Angela Merici has just started out maybe like 4 or 5 years before that.
Okay.
So I think the archdiocese in working with them also have some experience. So as I was, when the cardinal finally said yes, he said, these are some of the things that you need to do. One of the things you need to do is to look for a place to celebrate your Mass.
Okay.
Because you have to go and rent a place, maybe one of the school.
Yes.
Because this is so amazing about the Eucharist. You know what start a parish? The cardinal told me, it's your first Mass. The day you celebrate the first Mass, you become a parish. I give a decree, but it's the first Eucharist when the people gather around the Eucharistic table. That's when you become a community. So the first job was to look at what school are still open out in this area.
Yes.
So that you can go ahead and book it before you even come out there. Because when you gather your people, it's the first Mass that make a parish. So I remember talking with the realtor office of the archdiocese, and he gave me a list of the schools that are open.
Okay.
So we looked into it. Believe it or not, at that time, we were looking at a long list of schools, but they were all taken.
Oh, really?
It's wild. There was only very few that were still open.
Or they were available
that
for
was
a Sunday.
available for a community to rent out. So we looked at it and we drove out here. The one that we thought would really work out well at the time was Hubenak Elementary School.
Yes.
So he drove me out. He had a list with us, and we drove out, and the diocese has already called them.
Yes.
So we drove out to Hubenak Elementary School, and I was praying to the Holy Spirit the whole time. I said, Lord, you know better. You know how lost I am, and whatever place you want us to be, please lead us there. So as we were driving into Hubenak Elementary School, I was already praying to the Holy Spirit, please lead me. And we go in there. The school was very
It's small.
gracious. It's small, and it was a bit hidden.
Yes.
It was not as visible, or in terms of you kind of have to find your way to get there.
Yeah, it's like a country road type.
Yeah, so
thing, yes.
we walked there, and they were very gracious. The staff walked us to the gym and all of that, but I didn't feel that excitement or that peace that I was looking for in discernment. So they gave us the paper to fill out and to sign to return to them. And when we drive out, I was like, wow, is there any other school that's open? He said, Father, we've called a lot of school and they're not open. If they are open, they have like maybe the afternoon spot or something like that.
Yes.
So as we were driving, I got on my cell phone and I just put public school.
You weren't driving.
I wasn't driving. He was driving.
Okay.
So
who was with you?
Kent Sight was the one who was driving me. He was the director of the realtor office. So while he was driving, I said, Ken, I'm gonna look, and we go to a couple other one, but when we go in there, it was too small.
Okay.
And because we called them to see if they have already it available, but when we go in there, it was too small.
Yes.
As we walk in there, the facility wasn't. It doesn't look. I still don't have that experience of peace. And then,
Yes.
And then I looked in the area, and I saw Joe Hubenak,
Yes.
and it looked fairly new. It looked kind of nice, and
Yes.
pretty close enough to where our people are.
Yes.
So I said, hey, why don't we come over here? So we drove over there, and I still remember walking in, and the secretary was Catholic. She was very gracious.
Yes.
I said, I'm the new priest. We wanted to see if the school might be open for us to use in the weekend for Mass. And she said, oh, yes, Father. There was a Baptist group that been using it, but they just moved out and moved to a different location. So we are open now. It's like,
Yes.
on the list, it was not available that I had, but we didn't realize that they have moved out. So they gave us a tour, and I felt like, wow, this is the best spot. This is it. I feel that peace. I feel that prompting, that excitement, So when we came back, we filled out the paper and we submitted it right away. I said, go for this one. This is it. This is the one we want.
Yes.
And we submitted the application and they accepted it. And I was so thankful